kindergarten through second graders, they are taught about cycles of inequality. They are told that their identity dictates if they're part of a dominant or a victim group. So you're injecting, race-based thinking into kindergarten through second graders who haven't thought about that a minute of their lives.
So you've heard me talk a lot about my handicapped son. He has Down syndrome, and I'm really glad that when he goes to school, people really accept him. I'm always amazed by this, and I love it. It wasn't the bullying thing that I remember handicapped kids going through when I went to school. And I see these signs on the wall that say, "No place for hate." How do you not like that? This guy doesn't like it. Now, I'm saying, Will Johnson is a parent and activist and wrote an interesting column for Complete Colorado on no place for hate. When I walked into my kids' school, and I've seen them all over, I've seen these big posters that say, "No place for hate." And I go, okay, I agree. This is no place for hate. What is it?
Yeah, well, it is, I think it's a program that has a lot of positive elements to it, right? It sounds good.
So it's not just a slogan. It's not just a little thing they put up there, because I see diversity and tolerance. It's actually a program. It's
a program that is put together and run by the Anti-Defamation League, the ADL, which is a left-wing national activist organization. And yeah, it sounds good.
Let me stop you there, because I know the head of the ADL will probably watch this or listen and go, wait a minute, we're not extreme, we're not left-wing. This guy's obviously an anti-Semite. He just doesn't like. No. Why do you say that? Because I believe the ADL has done a lot of really great work over the decades. I think there was a real issue, and they addressed it. Why do you say they're left-wing?
Yeah, I think they've really taken a turn to the left over the last handful of years, and you see it kind of embodied in this program. So, I think we can agree with a lot of what's in it, right? We don't want our kids to be bullied or to be bullies. We want to help cultivate bravery and respect for all. We want to reject racism, right? Those are all good things, and we want all kids to thrive. But what the program does, it's not just a difference of opinion of how to achieve those ends that myself and so many other parents I've talked to have had with it. It goes beyond that. It teaches things that I think parents should know about, and that if they knew about them, they'd be concerned that their kids are learning those things.
Right, help me out with this, because when you say it teaches, as a parent, really all I see is this banner. So I see a banner, and I see ADL on it, I go, all right, whatever. And I don't think there is a program attached. What is this program?
Yeah. So the program requires, to be designated as a no place for hate school, you need to have 75% of your students and your teachers sign this loyalty pledge. And they say it's voluntary, right? But teachers that I've talked to have said they've been told to go back 4 or 5 times to ask students to sign this pledge.
And if you get 75% of your teachers and students to sign this no place for hate pledge, what's the benefit? You get the banner, or is there?
You get the banner. You get to display it, prominently in your school, and
it's a pride thing.
Yeah, and
right.
I think so. Then, but there's more to it than that. That's required to keep that banner. So you need to. First of all, they strongly recommend that schools adopt the ADL's curriculum, which they intend to permeate through the school's broader curriculum. And then they require 3 activities for all students to do throughout the year. So for example, kindergarten through second graders, they are taught about cycles of inequality. They are told that their identity dictates if they're part of a dominant or a victim group. So you're injecting, race-based thinking into kindergarten through second graders who haven't thought about that a minute of their lives.
You're teaching them about class warfare,
right,
and critical race theory to second graders, and this is in order to keep the banner.
Yes, to keep the banner and to move towards universal consciousness, as they say in the handbook.
That's their term?
They have a quote in it that they talk about, moving towards universal consciousness. And so to me that says, is that kind of conformity of thought, right? What are we trying to program into our kids here? So, in middle school, they'll one of the activities is to explore how dress codes unfairly target certain identity groups. In high school, they say that they teach that microaggressions are pervasive in our daily lives, and one activity is for students to keep a journal throughout the week and for them to write down every instance of bias, microaggression that they see in their schools.
We're teaching them to be victim addicts. We're teaching them to celebrate victimhood.
Right.
Not to not bully. I mean, I see no place for hate. I see don't bully. I see that this is not a racist place. This is a place where we treat everyone the same. But when you dig into it, it actually tells you to keep a record of your microaggressions and what you see, so you can be sensitized to all the hate there is out there.
Right. To be ready to be offended. Right. And I think, to your point, we want harmony for all. We want kids to respect, their peers, absolutely. But is the best way to achieve that to tell kids to be hyper-focused on their differences, and that their differences define their identity and which group they're in?
Does this really tell kids that you are who your skin color is, that you are your gender or your perceived gender? This is who you are.
They say that is your identity. That your identity is composed of, immutable characteristics like that, and that identity then dictates what you are, currently capable or incapable of achieving. Are you a part of a dominant, or are you part of a victim group? So to me, that is antithetical to how Martin Luther King's message of judging by content of character. And so what we're doing is we're teaching kids that the cornerstone of the civil rights movement was wrong. And so I think the way to counterbalance that, and I think so many parents would agree, and Bob Woodson, who you talked to last month, has said the same thing, is to teach kids that we have individual dignity, that we share dignity, and that we're all worthy of and should be respected. But then teach kids that no matter who you are, no matter who you love, no matter what you look like, no matter where you came from, you can achieve your potential, you can achieve great things. If we teach kids those things, not overlooking that we need to be empathetic, we need to overcome our own challenges, but you can do those things. Anybody can achieve greatness.
Is there a call to action with this stuff other than journaling about all the victim celebration you see around?
There is, and that is, so this moves beyond just in different means to achieving the same goals. Now we're transitioning into things that I think parents should really be concerned about and disagree with. So they talk about that kindness isn't enough. The kids need to move on from kindness.
Move on from kindness. And they need to do that because they need to affect systemic change. That they need to impact systems and change them for the better. This is K through 12 kids we're talking about. So for example, they say that volunteering at a soup kitchen isn't enough. That to really tackle and solve homelessness, you need to be advocating for affordable housing. Or that, or that to address. So wait a second.
Yeah.
The ADL comes in here, and I've always been a fan of the ADL. I think they, historically have done incredible things. But you're saying they come in here, they teach kids about their differences, teach kids about spotting aggression, microaggressions, see their privilege, and that they are who their skin color and their gender tells them they are, and then tells them acts of service aren't enough. You need to actually become politically involved on one side of this issue. So when it's affordable housing, my guess is they're not advocating for what I want to do with affordable housing, which is to get rid of urban growth boundaries and growth control, which is put more minorities and poor people out of the home market than anything else, because the left hates the poor. The leftist policies hurt the poor. If we got rid of those growth boundaries, we could build the homes that were inexpensive for them to have. Is that what they want me to do or my kid to do?
They want them to be political activists. But to your point, they are not giving them diversity of thought. At least I haven't seen that in anything that I've read or heard. So, and to that point, these issues are complex and controversial, and experts disagree on what the root causes are and what the solution should be. So at the very least, we can at least give kids that diversity of thought. But my concern is they're not getting that.
Okay, we've only got about a minute left here, so help me understand, what is the big threat about this? So here's a program that looks, I walk in there, I see this beautiful banner, I agree with that banner, and now I'm finding out that in order to have the privilege of having this banner, you've got to get 75% of your kids into this program and sign a pledge and then do these activities just to have the bragging rights. What's the real danger? Wrap it up for me.
Yep. I think the real danger is that we are encouraging kids to be more angry, more anxiety-filled, and more hopeless. We're teaching learned helplessness to kids. And the reason I say that is social psychology research has shown that if you have people focus on their differences, focus on how they can be offended throughout their day, and that their identity heavily influences what they're capable of achieving, that's going to lead to traits that we see unfortunately rising incredibly in today's youth. But what this same research shows is that if we teach them, along with empathy, if we teach them resiliency, if we teach them that they can determine their outcomes, if they have an internal locus of control, that leads to more happiness, better health, and more success at school.
And none of that takes away from this message that in this school there is no place for hate.
Yep.
There's no place for bullying. There is no place for racism. There's no place for anti-Semitism. Those are good messages that are now being used to push something. Will, thank you so much. You can read his work in Complete Colorado. Check it out. If you enjoyed that conversation, by all means, click one of these other great programs. We have the best conversations with the most fascinating Coloradans. And subscribe to our channel. Just click down below and hit that little bell button too. You don't want to miss a single show.